Unless otherwise indicated, all the following scripture quotations are taken from the Holy Bible, New Living Translation, with copyright by Tyndale Foundation, used by permission of Tyndale House Publishers, all rights reserved.
Hi, welcome back to my channel. I am the one and only Peachy Pie, and today we are going to take a look at whether or not you are codependent. So let's have a look. Okie dokie. So I know that this is going to be a really touching topic for a lot of people, and many people actually aren't aware that they are in codependent relationships, probably because they are so used to those type of relationships that they don't actually know it's super unhealthy. So let's get straight into it. I'm on the website for Very Well Mind, which they say, what is codependency and recognizing the signs? So codependency essentially is reliance on a person, and or maybe even on a group of people, but it's a lot more complicated than just relying on someone, like just having one person to rely on. It can be a situation where you have no rights, and like the way I like to see love in a relationship is when a person is completely independent of the other person and they have the choice to express their love in whatever way that they choose without having to worry about the resources being taken away. That is when true love can actually develop. If you take, for example, a child, right? A child growing up can never fully love an adult as their parent in a proper way until they are independent, because their behavior and their well-being and their needs are actually dependent on the person that's providing for their needs. So if, for example, they've got a toxic parent that withdraws their needs at whim, really, then what they are going to do is they're going to adjust their behavior and they're going to adjust the way that they do things or say things in order to not get their needs taken away from themselves. And that's why you can't really have a healthy relationship in a codependent situation, right? So codependency can happen in all sorts of relationships. It doesn't just have to be parental in nature, even though I believe that the most dangerous codependent relationships are the parent-child relationships, because I've seen far too many young men and women who have goals and dreams and ambitions that they just can't seem to do and they just can't seem to get to, because they've got a parent that continuously encourages them to deny themselves, maybe lowers their self-esteem using insults so that they don't have the confidence to achieve things, or says to them things that promote fear, like, you can't do this, don't you know how dangerous that is? For example, in a codependent relationship, a teenager or a young adult might feel, hey, I'm 21 now, I want to go and move out, stay on my own. But in a codependency, you've got a parent that is promoting the thought that you can't stay on your own. It's too dangerous. It's scary. How are you going to pay for things? How are you going to manage this? How are you going to do that? Da, 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 da. Any of those type of things, in order to make the person feel too afraid to branch out, because those seem like legitimate fears. They seem like something somebody who cares about you would say. So you'd say to yourself, oh, I can't stand my own because my parents are only concerned about my welfare. They're just thinking that it's a dangerous world out there. They are really just very much concerned about me and they love me so much they wouldn't want to wish me harm. So it seems like a positive, really good statement. Meanwhile, it is reinforcing that they want you to stay with them. And I'm going to say something that's possibly very much an unpopular opinion, but a codependent parent does not love you, they love themselves, and that's why, or a codependent partner, and that's why they want you there, because they love themselves. They want to be the one that is going to take from you all of these things. So looking at codependency, right? Some signs of codependency is maybe a sense of walking on eggshells. Like I've said, you got to adjust your behavior in order to avoid conflict, feeling the need to check in with the other person or ask their permission to do daily tasks, which should be your right to do them. Often being the one who apologizes when you've done nothing wrong, or feeling sorry for that person when they hurt you. Regularly trying to change yourself and rescue this person when they get into trouble. These are all things that are part of a codependent relationship. I'm going to link all of these in the description, or maybe as a pinned comment. So please go and check out these resources if you suspect even remotely that you are in a codependent relationship, right? So let's look at 9 warning signs of a codependent relationship from fortbehavioral.com. The first warning sign is people pleasing. It's not very apparent at first, but once you start thinking about it, you'll start realizing that this is codependent behavior, right? Number 2 is lack of boundaries. Number 3 is poor self-esteem. Yeah, because in a codependent relationship, right, the person needs the approval of the other. So you have a tendency to develop, in a sense, that you need this person's approval to think and to feel. So often people from codependent relationships have poor self-esteem. Number 4, caretaking. If you are someone that loves taking care of people and rescuing other people, this could be why, right? Reactivity, right? It's when your identity is based on pleasing others and you feel responsible for everyone else's well-being. Poor communication. A codependent mindset makes it hard to communicate effectively, because sometimes the caretaker puts aside their own wants and needs to meet someone else's needs constantly in the relationship, right? Lack of self-image, dependency, obviously, and relationship stress, right? Because all of these factors can put a lot of stress on the relationship. So then I thought about what is trauma bonding as well, and how is it similar or different to codependency. And this is from Psychology Today, right? Trauma bonding is similar to Stockholm Syndrome, in which people held captive have come to have feelings of trust or even affection for the very people who captured and held them against their will. And as you can tell, this often occurs in abusive relationships, right? So with codependency, right, the codependent understands that there needs to be change, but they don't understand why it's not occurring. They just believe that they need to understand what's going wrong, and then in order to fix that, then they will be able to bring back the loving part of the relationship. So it's really difficult for people when you come from abusive relationships, right? And toxic relationships. Sometimes you may not even be aware that your relationships are toxic or abusive, because you think, I'm taking care of people, I'm loving my family, I'm being a good person by doing this, without realizing that the people around you have created an environment in which you've taken yourself as a person, removed your identity from yourself, and are now exclusively there as essentially a butler to take care of everybody else's emotions and thoughts within this codependent situation or within a trauma bond situation. And so people who come from trauma bond situations, right, the person can often be a narcissist. I don't claim to be a psychologist. I've learned a lot over the past couple of weeks doing the series on abuse for the 16 days of activism, and also from doing a lot of counseling. I promise you, a lot of counseling. So and it was through these conversations and through this counseling that I was able to challenge my thoughts and my perceptions of what is right, what is good, what is healthy in my environment, and be able to understand the areas in which I have trauma bonding going on and I have codependent relationships going on, and how dangerous these things actually are for me and for my well-being. People that are keeping me in a situation where I'm codependent are actually not doing it for my benefit. They're doing it for their own. So I thought it would be important to talk to you about it, because I really don't want you to have the same experiences that I had. I know it's inevitable for a lot of people, but I want you to go and ask yourself, maybe even do a quiz or something on the internet. Pop your messages in the comment section. If you feel like doing it anonymously, just make sure that your pictures and stuff are not shown or whatever. Or you can just pop me an email if you want to with your story. But the thing is, I don't want you to go through the same issues that I had to go through. It's been a hell of a journey, and there's been so much pain, and a lot of it I felt was unnecessary. I am still in that state of working on my poor self-image and working on not blaming myself, as you can tell, for things that are happening. My therapists are telling me not to blame myself because some things were inevitable. But I really just want you to understand that you deserve to have a life, and you deserve for your life to go in a good, positive direction for you. And people who are stepping in the way of that are possibly codependent or trying to enforce a codependent situation because they don't want to see you move on, because they need someone, and that someone they've decided is you. So if you are in such a situation, I'm so sorry, please reach out to someone. I'll try to pop some helplines as well in the pinned comment. And just stay tuned for your scripture of the day. Your scripture of the day comes from Psalms 26 verse 6 to 7, which says, I wash my hands to declare my innocence. I come to your altar, O Lord, singing a song of thanksgiving and telling of all your wonders. Okie dokie. Thank you so much for being here, for listening to me talk about codependency and my issues. I have lots of them. You are welcome to my baggage. They are heavy and I do not need them any longer. But yeah, so thanks for being here. I hope that you have a great day further. And please, I urge you that if you think even a little bit that you might be just maybe a teensy bit in a codependent situation, please reach out for help. Please go and get some therapy and get yourself out of that, because you deserve to live a life that makes you happy. So thank you so much for joining me, and I hope that you have a phenomenal day further, because you absolutely deserve it. Bye!
그대 잠깐 눈을 붙일 때 나는 마음에 물을 붙여요. 비밀의 나만의 초콜릿. 그대 차가운 몸을 녹일 때